All right, so we're live. Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm here with Jade Jones with Premier Credit Rehab. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Carla Johnson. I'm a realtor with EXP. And I recently had a buyer seminar where we talked about credit, the process, and the down payment assistance programs, or sometimes zero down. And many of you asked and said, I need more information from Jade. I need to know more about credit. So she agreed to do this live with me. So thank you so much for joining. And but before we start the Q&A, and we're also Jade's gonna share 7 tips to help you get your credit home buyer ready. But before we do that, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows the replay of the seminar is available. So if you want to watch that, we'll have the link available. All right. So also I'm NACA certified. So if you're interested in getting a mortgage using NACA, let me know and I'll definitely talk to you about the process and give you a little consultation on it. So, Jade, tell us a
Yes,
little bit
ma'am.
about how you got started in credit.
What's a funny story actually. So when I moved here from Nashville back in 2012, I just had a really tough time financially in Nashville, and I had a daughter, and I just graduated from college, and I was just like, I have to go home because you can always go home, and moved in with my parents, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do this long, not coming home and being a parent myself, and then having to listen to my parents. I had to get out of there. So, went looking for an apartment, and I had evictions and repossessions on my credit, and I just had never looked at my credit. I was just like, I'll worry about that later. And then at that point, that was later. And I was trying to find an apartment, and I mean, I was just getting denied left and right. And I was looking at some second chance leasing apartments, and they weren't in the best areas, or they weren't even the best apartment complexes, had horrible reviews, and I was just distraught because I didn't know what I was going to do. Finally found one that had decent reviews, and it was in a decent area, and I was like, okay, this is where we got to start. And it was like at that point I was like, okay, I have to really see what's on here and figure out how I can get out of this situation, not just for me but also for my daughter. And we all make mistakes. Everyone's going to make a credit mistake, no matter how much your parents or anyone else tries to tell you what to do financially, or just learn from their mistakes. We all have to kind of fall, and get up by ourselves. So it was really just me learning that I had to change my mindset about credit and really learn, what I need to do to get myself out of a situation. It's the worst feeling to just constantly get denied just for an apartment. That isn't a car or anything. That's just a place to live. And so it was at that point that I realized, like, okay, I really have to figure this out. Figured it out for myself, started preparing taxes, and would talk to my clients just about whatever their goals were with their tax refund. And a lot of people wanted to buy a house or a car. But the downside was, okay, now I got some money, but I don't have the credit score. And I would just share like little bits of information that I learned just repairing my own credit. And at that point it clicked, like, why not? You're already preparing taxes. Why not go into credit repair as well? And so here we are today.
That's awesome. That's a
Thank
great story.
you.
And, it's just so true. Like the first step, and that's the first tip that we have for anyone who is interested in a change, a lifestyle change, is a mindset, right?
Absolutely. You have
Changing
to
the
change that
mindset.
mindset. And don't be scared. We all make mistakes, and it is that. Don't just believe like, oh, after 7 years it'll fall off. But 7 years is a long time to wait for something to fall off, or, to psych yourself up like, oh, I know I'll be able to do this, because a lot of other things can happen. So it's just really getting focused, being dedicated to making the change.
That's right. That's right. And what I learned as well is having that mindset, but also having a team around you to help you stay focused. I talk to my clients. Some of them are waiting 12 months like I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk to them like every other month and just say, hey, how's it going? It's just that support to know
Right.
that someone else is, rooting you on.
Absolutely.
So that's why I always recommend a credit restoration program so that you can get started. So great. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Sorry. All right. So the first tips, I'm going to share 7 tips. The first tip being to get your mind ready.
Yes.
Get the right mindset. So one of the questions from the buyer seminar is someone said that they have noticed that their interest rate goes up even though they've made their payment each month. Can you share why that might happen?
Absolutely. So as you know, you can make your minimum monthly payment and that counts as you making your payment on time, right? However, even though you're doing that and situations change, you might not be able to pay the full amount of whatever you owe. It's still hiking your interest up. So the second tip is whenever you have a credit card, making sure you're making your payment in full. If you cannot, it's understandable as long as you're making your monthly payment, your minimum that's due. However, if you want to see a decrease in that interest rate, you need to make your payment in full each time.
Yes, great advice. All right, that's tip number 2. Let's see here. The next question we received was, how many credit cards should I have in order to build credit?
Yes. So I advise my clients, because I know that's a scary thing. Either you've had credit cards and you didn't do well, or you've never had a credit card, but you've heard scary stories. Credit cards can be your best friend. You just have to have the right mindset and be dedicated to using them responsibly. I advise for my clients to have no more than 3 credit cards, using them at the 30% that's recommended. Do not go over that 30%. You want to make sure it's 30% or less. So what I advise my clients when you're getting a credit card to help build your credit, get 3 and use them for things that you know that you would pay for anyway. So for example, I have a credit card I solely use when I get my nails done. I already know that I have the cash to pay to get my nails done. So I just use that card, or gas, or something very small that you know is going to keep you underneath your 30%, but something that you also have already budgeted in your salary or your monthly income that you're going to put towards it anyway. So even if it's a small bill, your cell phone bill, a gas bill, something like that, go ahead and use that for it, and then just go ahead and pay it off. You already have dedicated money towards it, so go ahead and pay it off that way.
That's great advice. That's tip number 3. And so it's kind of like if you, it's kind of like paying, making sure that you're able to pay something off, but you definitely want to pay it. You want to use the card just so you have usage and then pay it off, right?
Exactly.
And that is rolled up into your debt to income ratio. And when you say 30%, you mean that you only want to bill 30% on your card.
Exactly.
Right?
You only want to bill no more than 30% on that card.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course, you get $1,000 and you think I have $1,000, but no, you really don't have a full $1,000 to use. You don't want to do that. Now, in extreme circumstances, you need new tires or something, totally understandable. However, you want to just remain using that responsibly.
Right. All right. Excellent advice. That debt to income ratio, you want to be below at least 45%. That's all your debt. So that's something to consider. Okay. All right, so we're rolling to tip number 4. What tools are available to help manage my credit?
So you have a lot of options. The biggest thing, and it's something that we talked about in the seminar, is making sure that you pull your credit report. Myannualcreditreport.com gives you a free credit score. It was annually, but now due to COVID, they're providing that every month. Gives you everything you need. Now, it doesn't provide you with your score because they want you to pay for that. However, knowing what's on your credit report is just so important, right? Then you have access to like Credit Sesame and Credit Karma, which are great to give you like that idea of like, okay, I got a general idea of where my credit score is, but we have to keep in mind that's just your Vantage score, not your FICO score. So if you're looking to purchase a home, you need to get, you might have to pay Identity IQ or a software like that so you can pull all 3 of your credit reports in real time, and then it actually provides you with that FICO score. So that's a more dedicated way to look at it. Additionally, a lot of credit cards like Capital One and Discover, even if you don't have a Discover card, you can pull your credit report using those as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of ways you can pull and see what's on, what's reporting to your credit report. You just have to go ahead and jump in and do it and pull it up.
That's right. And a lot of people just don't want to know, like they just avoid it. And I just, forgive yourself for whatever you did back in the day and let's move forward. Take a look at the report, face it head on, and then we're able to help you and move on to your dreams. But before you change your situation, you have to kind of know. I pulled my credit report and I saw things on there and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed that that's even on there. But you'll be surprised. You never know, some things drop off because it's been so old and they'll drop off. So,
and then there'll be some things on there that might not even belong to you. That's right. Another thing. So you just have to, be aware. And I know my biggest thing is my parents are my biggest idols, and I feel like they're perfect and they've never had a credit issue and they've always been perfect. And in reality, no one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, financial mistakes, whether they show up on your credit card or you blow your whole savings account. Everyone makes a mistake. Like you said, just forgive yourself and move forward.
That's right. All right. So now we're on tip number 5, I believe. I might be off on the count, but I think we're on 5. And this is a question I get asked a lot. How do you know what debt to pay off?
So, very important tip. You don't just want to go into it paying the debt, because even though you pay it, it's still going to report negatively, right? So you're at a negotiation stage. At this point, if it's on your credit report, it's already on your credit report. So you have the option to call the creditor. And of course, they're going to settle, or, hey, yeah, just pay this. And in your mind, you're thinking, great, I paid it. My credit score is going to increase. No, you have to make sure you're paying the debt for those collection companies who are willing to remove it from your account. That's the most important thing. I don't want to say, well, don't pay your debt, because that's not what I mean. However, it's not going to ultimately benefit you. So if you owe $1,000 and say you're saving that up for a home, but in your mind, you're thinking, I'm going to pay this $1,000 to pay off this debt. But if it's not removed, if they're not willing to negotiate and work with you and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to send you a letter saying that we're going to remove this off of your credit report, then it's not worth it. It's already listed on there. It's already done its damage. When you're going through your credit report and you're going through the audit and you're calling those collections companies, make sure you ask, if I pay this debt, if I pay however much, are you willing to have that removed from my credit report? Yes. Okay, I will not make a payment until I receive something via email, via mail, showing that you guys will remove this from my credit report. Because that's the only thing that's going to show an increase. So it's really about calling the creditors and knowing it's nothing to be embarrassed about, but you can negotiate.
Most definitely you can negotiate. They usually have like a settlement price that they'll work with you on.
Yep.
As long as you send that letter.
As long as it's in that, that is the most important thing. Don't let them tell you, well, just pay it and we'll send it. No. Don't you pull out that credit card or checkbook or whatever until they send you something and you see it in writing, and then you make that payment.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. So tip number 6. Let's see here. I have a couple of them here. I'm trying to make sure we get to the ones that are most important. So someone asked, how do they lower interest rates on credit cards?
Mm-hmm. That's a little tricky.
Yeah.
But it can be done. First and foremost, the better the credit score, the lower the interest rate, right? So there's like 4 factors that really go into if you're trying to negotiate and getting a lower interest rate. And so the first one, you need to make sure you know your credit score. Where do you stand? If that's going to play a factor in it, okay? Second is your payment history. You can't go in asking for a lower interest rate if you haven't been making your payments on time, okay? Number 3, it's going to be the overall history with the company. How long have you been with Discover or Capital One? Are you a new account? Have you had them for 5 or 10 years? That's going to play a part in that. And then lastly, just competitive offers. If you've been working on your credit score for the last 2 or 3 years and you've had Capital One and now you're up in the 700s and you're getting all these offers from exactly, that's some leverage that you have. So you can call Capital One and be like, hey, I've been with you guys for 5 years. I know I started off a little rocky. I've improved my credit score. I've made all my payments on time. We've been together for this long, but now I have Discover offering their credit card with a higher limit and a lower interest rate. Use that as leverage. But again, it starts with that credit score. That's first and foremost, and your payment history. Probably the most two important things out of everything that I said that will make it a competitive. Now, if they say yes or no, it's totally up to them. However, if you have all those things in line, I guarantee you that you'll probably get a lower interest rate.
Yeah, and consider closing the account after, if you have other credit cards, like you don't have to have so many, right?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So those, and the last tip, the seventh tip, is going to be what I recommend, which is working with a credit restoration company. Can you tell a little bit about the process?
Absolutely. So there are a lot of people who say, I can do it myself. I did it myself. You're absolutely right. However, there are loopholes that credit restoration companies like Premier Credit Rehab do offer. I know I've given a few little golden nuggets here and there, but the biggest thing is nobody understands how time consuming this process can be. And I mean, it's from auditing your credit report, knowing what you're looking for, knowing how to approach not only the credit bureaus but also the creditors, right? It's just a lot more information. I'm never going to tell someone if they can't do something. However, why stress yourself out about that part when you can let someone else take care of it? So at Premier Credit Rehab, we audit your credit report. We're constantly sending dispute letters on your behalf. We are going back and forth. A lot of people get discouraged because the credit bureaus and even creditors will come back and say, well, this account is verified and it belongs to you. Don't stop at the first letter that they say, well, this is it. And that's where a lot of people get discouraged and say, okay, well, I can't do anything with my credit. Now I'm going to have to do X, Y, and Z. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep going. And if that's 8 rounds and 9 rounds of letters, we're going to continue to go into fight until they provide validity of the debt or delete it off of your account. I am so passionate about making sure that my clients are not only educated on how to look at their credit report and what to look for, but just how to avoid ever being in this situation again. So you want someone in a credit repair company to work for you who's really about helping you reach your goals. And that's what we do.
Awesome. So when I used a credit restoration company, I didn't use you weren't around when I was looking for a house, but what I liked is they sent the letters out for me. I didn't have to do that because I didn't have time for it. But I did have some things I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
They sent some mailers to me and then I had to put them in the mail or some things that I did. But I could tell that my credit was changing because I started to get some offers. I started to see things in the mail, from credit companies, and creditors started calling me. So you want to make sure that you know what to say because they know the laws. They know how to say, what to say to you to get you to say certain things that could hurt your credit report. And we don't know those things. So it's always good to have someone on your side to just tell you those things you don't know. So if you're interested in learning more, give me a call, send me a message. I am open for consultations and we talk about your plan. If you're ready to buy a home, or if you think that you might be interested in a plan. And then once we talk about that, then you can get in touch with Jade if that's the route that you decide to go. And she can get you started on a plan to renew your credit.
Absolutely.
But these 7 things that we talked about today, these tips that Jade shared with us should help you to improve your credit as well if you're a do-it-yourselfer, because we're all for that, right? I mean, we know you have that right to do it, but definitely you know where to reach out if you have any questions. We'll be happy to help you.
Absolutely.
Jade, anything else you want to share with us?
Hey, so enroll with us today for $79. I mean, that's always a great thing to say, right?
Yeah.
But it's a free consultation. I know a lot of people are skeptical because it is a saturated market and, people are scared to do that. You're offering your personal information. Just know I'm always here to talk to you about whatever questions you may have, maybe ease your mind. And again, if I am not the person for you, it's totally understandable, but any information that I can offer to help you, I am here to help.
Yep. And I agree with that. I second that. I think you should go to Jade's Facebook page, check out the information she's sharing, and follow her as well. Someone did ask a question. I'm trying to read the question here. It says is that close enough to be to a mortgage score? Were you talking about the interest rate? I mean, the the interest rate to get a mortgage. I'm not sure if I understand the question. But whomever asked that question, if you'll just message me offline, I'll be happy to get that answer for you. But thank you so much, Jade. You shared so much great information. Again, I always recommend credit restoration because I used it. So I definitely think that, sorry, my system is kind of being moved around. I definitely recommend that you could reach out to Jade, reach out to me as well for a free consultation so that we can get you started on a plan so that you can buy your dream home.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for watching my live, and have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.